Is dating a high-performing man, entrepreneurial man, even that different than dating a regular guy? I'll meet a girl who's dating a guy who's working a 9 to 5 and doesn't have much ambition for himself and is okay with that.
When it comes to the concept of love, I believe love isn't just relationships. Love is also with female friendships. Love is with children. Love is with animals. And what's the opposite of love? Fear. But even fear stems from love. Fear from not experiencing it, fear from being too far away from it, fear from when people are coming from a fear-based place. My lens is, how do I manipulate them to stop thinking in fear terms and start thinking in love terms? Because everything actually stems from love.
If you're looking for a relationship that is easy, that is healthy, these are the things that are likely most conducive to the goal of having a healthy relationship. And I do think that one of those things is not sleeping with him early. I've never been in a toxic relationship. I've never had a bad dating experience.
Wow, that's so powerful. What is your best dating advice?
Oh my God, to tie it up in one thing.
I know, that's so hard.
I think...
Lauren, I am so honored to have you here. I've been following you on social media for a bit now.
Yes.
I am a huge advocate for what you are doing. You're not just helping women understand men better, you're helping them understand themselves better, which is really impressive.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about why you are on this mission and what inspired you to do it.
Great first question. Relationships have been something that I've always loved. So before I had any sort of platform, if you scroll way back on my Instagram, I would post a photo and just share my thoughts about anything. And it usually fell under the category of relationships or love. I just love studying relationships and what makes it work. And so I started dating my fiance and sharing my experience dating a really, really, really successful guy who worked a lot. The realities of it, the struggles, the highlights, etc. And I started getting this platform of women who could empathize with my experience.
Yeah.
And it grew from there, grew into Quietly Becoming, which is my women's community. And then it did grow into matchmaking, but we just shut that down for reasons.
Why?
We could. I am not an entrepreneurial person by heart.
Okay. At least you know that.
Yes, yeah. But either I'm not an entrepreneurial person by heart, or what it takes to be that successful of an entrepreneur to run that scale of company is not in my forte. So it was really great. We were charging high ticket matchmaking, which, if I'm being really, really transparent, everything that I say about our matchmaking services was true. It was the most amazing experience. We worked with amazing men. The women that we would match them with were incredible. But I found, I don't know when this is going to be released, but I found that because men were paying such high ticket, they wanted this creme de la creme of a woman.
Sure.
So that's why they were wanting to work with me. We had these amazing Miss Universe models who also did advocacy work and philanthropy,
Nice.
etc. But because she wasn't his specific type, he would say no. And we had 2 instances where a guy ended up finding a woman outside of our service, which happens sometimes. And I would see photos of them, and she seemed incredible, but she was not the caliber of what he was telling me he wanted. So I feel like the matchmaking thing just became way too logistical. And also because they were paying high service, they thought it's not, matchmaking is not a product.
No, it's
it
not.
really
It's
is more of
heart-led.
Yeah. So I think that I just got into it too quickly without being able to set the standard for what work he was going to have to do, or what it meant to really meet a woman of the caliber that he's looking for, without being super, super nitpicky that her left eye is too big. It was very interesting, the conversations I had.
Just the fact that quite often people will judge humans like books. They'll look at the cover, but they're not looking at the content. And even I learned that in dating, that it's important to go in with an open mind, just the way I'm open about everything else in my life, because people can surprise you. And dating, if you change the perspective of it and you change the lens of it, even if that person's not for you, you are intertwined with them to some degree at some capacity for a reason, and you can still learn something or explore part of yourself that you haven't unraveled. So there's beauty in just connection. And I think if people looked at it from that approach, they could soften their thoughts on going into what is a date intended to be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. We had, and I say this, and I think that I get exasperated quickly when I talk about matchmaking because it was such an insane learning curve for me.
Sure.
But we did have these amazing clients, and I did find that I'd say it's about 50-50. The clients who went into the process more open-minded, willing to date outside of their type, they did have the most success dating and ended up meeting someone really amazing through our database because they were more open-minded versus being so not open-minded, for lack of better words. But it's cool too because I haven't dated in 5.5 years.
Right.
So for me, dating always came easily, and I was always, I don't know why, but able to really meet incredible people. And there would be instances where a client would go out with a girl and the girl would say, thank you so much for setting me up with XYZ name. But I didn't really feel the chemistry that I was looking for. I got more like best friend vibes. He wasn't too funny. He wasn't funny enough, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I see what you're saying. I would try a second date with him. You guys went to a super fancy restaurant. Of course, you're not cracking jokes in a fancy restaurant.
Right. Everything's a little more.
You said he checked all of your boxes. Give it a second chance. In some instances, they wouldn't continue dating after the second or third date for whatever reason. But there was quite a few times where I would push them to go on a second date. And I have 2 clients right now they've sunsetted. They're no longer working with them because the contract expired, but they're still dating the girls that I prompted both either the guy or the girl to go on a second date. Sometimes people just need that push. So matchmaking was really cool from that perspective. But I'm glad to just have Quietly Becoming now and do singles events if I want to because, the other thing, sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
I just want to say that you're telling me all the reasons why it wasn't working for you, but you're so heart-led.
I love it.
I actually feel like it's a mistake to not continue, perhaps with the clients that you feel you could still align with.
Yeah. It's maybe
taking the pressure off of yourself even.
Yeah.
I think having to be perfect for every client.
I know. Perfectionism. If I didn't introduce a client to his wife, I would consider myself a failure. So I definitely did have very high standards and
What sign are you?
I'm a Sagittarius sun, Libra moon, Cancer rising.
Oh my God, that makes so much
Capricorn
sense.
Venus, which
so
I think is
sense.
has to do with why I work with very high performing men.
100%. That's so funny. That's so on par.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's really cool. I'm very anti-AI for thinking process. I really do better processing things myself. But when AI was first released and it was use this really extensive prompt to find your ideal avatar, your brand colors, your brand voice, blah, blah, blah. It was a very extensive prompt. I think it was Casey Dene that I bought it from. It's $20.
Okay.
And I had already started the what matchmaking would look like for founders in love. And I already had Quietly Becoming for a year at this point. Yeah. And it was very, very on par with what I was already doing. It's you should be charging high ticket. You should be working with people who already have a foundation of what they're wanting from life and who they are. And so I find that I very much live up to my chart.
We all do cool. To a big degree of it. Yeah. I mean, it's the blueprint of your soul.
Yeah. Do you know human design and gene keys and everything about that?
Yeah, love.
I had an assistant who's actually become my best friend, and she's coming to my bachelor party with me. But she introduced me to gene keys, and she's amazing. She has her own offer helping women tap back into their feminine side, despite being very successful. But she introduced me to gene keys, and I don't remember anything about my gene keys, but human design is really interesting. Astrology is really interesting.
I come from a Kabbalistic family. Okay. So Kabbalah's deep, deep within my bloodline on my father's side.
Okay.
So for me, when I meet women who, whether they're spiritual or not, I can feel whether they are. And it's just so fascinating to me. I didn't even think this conversation would go down this route, but that happens often here, that you have such a gift for just alignment. So I'm going to stick with this, and you can do whatever you want with it. I think you have a gift, and that even though you've been maybe felt a little let down by yourself because you have so much pressure on yourself to do right by people, it doesn't mean you should stop when it feels good for you. If it doesn't feel good for you, don't. But the second it does, you should do it.
Yeah.
You don't know what miracles could come of it. I mean, you've already created so many within the short time period that you did do that. And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. I have an incredible platform. Like, genuinely, the people who follow me and the people who get value, I guess, from my content, I think that I really do think I am like a connector. Like, even it was really painful growing up because I would have like this amazing group of friends, and then they would become friends with each other, and I would no longer be friends. Like, they would leave me out. But despite it being super painful when I was young, now I still have this gift of like, people are attracted to me, and then because they're attracted to me because of my values, they are attracted to each other. And now I see it like as my gift. And with Quietly Becoming, women are meeting outside of the community, and like they did this vision board night for New Year's Eve, and they like, the presentations where they're like, I'll present for 15 minutes on like a funny topic.
Yeah.
Like, they had one of those nights.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Because I think it's hard to make girlfriends like that. But the other cool thing regarding matchmaking is that I definitely have some sort of money wound around like taking money from people, which I need to work on more. But people have DM'd me, two people, I won't hyperbolize, two people have DM'd me and said, I saw two guys, I saw a girl followed you. And guys have told me as well that they will send a girl my content as like a test.
Interesting.
To see what she thinks about my content.
Beautiful.
Because I make very niche, somewhat polarizing content for women dating. And so two guys have DM'd me and said, I saw a girl followed you, so she must
be intrigued
to some by degree. Your content.
Yeah.
And we're dating now. I'm flying her in from, I think she lived in Europe, he was in Miami. He's like, I'm flying her in from Europe to meet for the first time, and they've continued to date. So matchmaking, maybe it's something that I continue. I want to get pregnant in like a year and a half. And being a mom is something that I've always wanted.
It's the best.
It's
the best.
Have lived my whole life wanting to be a mom.
I can see that.
I'm like on the verge of tears this entire conversation. I don't know what's going on.
That happens when, you energetically are with other women that like, I feel how much soul and like how much connection you have to this, and how much you genuinely want to help women. And it's really powerful.
Thank you.
I quite often get overwhelmed when I'm like, wow, like I'm constantly shocked by how many women I'm pulling in, that I'm like, wow, I must be doing something right, because I keep meeting women like you. And it's powerful.
I was just listening to your podcast that you did with Coco.
Yes. Yeah.
And where you were saying that like you meet all of these incredible women. I have a question for you.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm often asked, Lauren, I really like your content. How can I meet more women who are like you, or like the women that follow you? What do you contribute to being such a magnet to the women that you admire and that you surround yourself with?
I'm very mission driven. And for me, I grew up between two worlds, essentially, the Middle East and America. And I saw how many women in the Middle East don't have the ability to have a freedom of voice or freedom of life. Sometimes they have one and sometimes not the other. And no matter how many issues this country even has, we have the ability to have a voice. So I'm always trying to surround myself with women that I can learn from, that are not necessarily exactly like me, perhaps different in thought, different in background, but we all have an agenda, which is to help uplift one another. And I think that just being mission driven allows me to pull that in. I made a promise to myself years ago that I wasn't going to stop until I reached every woman's soul in the search of how do I become the most evolved version of myself? Less about how do I become the hottest version or the smartest version? How do I become the most evolved version? And when you start to think like that, you naturally will pull in things that are more aligned. Now, when it comes to the concept of love, I believe love isn't just relationships. Love is also with female friendships. Love is with children. Love is with animals. And what's the opposite of love? Fear. But even fear stems from love. Fear from not experiencing it, fear from being too far away from it, fear from never having it. So when people are coming from a fear-based place, my lens is how do I manipulate them to stop thinking in fear terms and start thinking in love terms, because everything actually stems from love.
Yes.
So that's why what you're doing is so much more powerful than just this man is successful, here's how to date him. You're also helping reprogram men out of fear-based mentality. So there's a lot of nuances and there's a lot of layers to the concept of love.
There is. Yes. I find it helpful for me to agree, like within myself, agree on a definition of what love is. Because someone will say, oh, I love him, but he's doing this. But by my definition of love, if he loves you, or if you love him, then the way that you're approaching this wouldn't be the way that you're approaching it. So like, for example, that was like really abstract. For example, let's say that he's coming home really late every night, 2 a.m. He says he's going to come home at 10 p.m. and he doesn't text. For me, let me try to verbalize what love is for me. I always go back to 1 Corinthians 13, which is essentially love is not controlling. It is not subjugating someone to my beliefs. It's patient, it's kind, it's etc. If I'm going to approach this situation that is giving me a lot of anxiety and stress and etc., if it's giving me all these feelings, then it's not love that I'm approaching the situation with. It is fear or control. Like I no longer feel in control, so I'm feeling fearful. And I find that kind of like, what is it, the game where you fall back into the blocks?
I have no idea.
Or maybe like ping pong? Not ping pong.
The coins that you drop in?
Kind of, like something like that.
Okay.
That's how I visualize it. Like I'm just gonna shift back in to
Beautiful.
Approaching this with love. And it immediately, I can feel it in my body. It's like this warmness that comes and I'm like, I love him. So what does it look like to not need to control him?
Oh, beautiful.
And every time my brain goes, but what does it look like to approach this with love? Just constantly pulling it back.
Recalibrate.
Pulling it back.
100%.
Yeah.
That happened to me. I actually haven't spoken publicly about this ever. I feel the only man that ever truly hurt me at a soul level, a deep, deep soul level. I had accepted the situation for what it was. And I knew that he was just in such an unhealthy place that he couldn't even, you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself, talking about love. But I had accepted the situation. But what I had realized in the silence by myself, literally in the shower, I started crying tears of love and joy because at a cellular level, I had accepted him for who he really was, with love, without judgment. And that is a form of love, to love someone and say, I can honor you and respect where you're at without judgment, but also realize I love myself enough to know that this doesn't work for me. So love really starts with oneself. But in order to have certainty throughout love, it's also really imperative to have source to the creator, whoever the creator is for you, because having certainty also means that you have certainty in the creator to know that you are on the path that you are intended to be on. So wish everyone love and light on the way. As much as people are like, send love and light. It's not just a saying. It's not just a phrase. Send them love and light and have certainty within yourself that love is for you. Yeah. The concept of love is really, it's actually so profound.
It is.
It really is. It really is. What do you think about soulmates? I would love to hear your thoughts.
You know, from a spiritual perspective, I don't really know what people say about soulmates. Like, I don't know anything about karmic ties. I don't know anything about what's the other thing that people call soulmates?
Like twin flames, things like that. Yeah,
I don't know anything about that. So for me, like, people ask, how do you know Revi, my fiance, is the one? And for me, I was talking with Taylor Love about this yesterday, actually. My answer to that is that there's things about me and Revi that are very aligned. And the main thing is that what I want from my husband is how Revi wants to show up as a husband.
Beautiful.
It's been refining. Like, it hasn't been him always being perfect. It's been me presenting him with ideas, him deciding if that's what he wants to do or who he wants to be. And I would say 99.9% of the time, it's a yes. Like, he wants to be who I want him to be. Revi is very good at saying no to me too. But typically it's just from a place of, I'm not saying no right forever. I'm going to figure this out and I'll come back to you with like a better answer. So
he's not a reactive person. He's thoughtful in the way he...
For the most part.
Yeah.
That's
really
powerful. Everyone gets reactive.
Of course, we're human beings, but that really resonates with you.
Yeah. He's just he's also such a mission driven. He knows his values, has such integrity, and has lived through so much pain, but takes extreme ownership for his life and what he wants. So I know that his yes means yes and his no means no. So from that perspective, it's not that he's the one and we were ordained to be together. Sometimes it feels that way. But it's more so that I've made a choice, because choosing him does to some degree feel like choosing a better version of myself. And I'm just going to keep choosing that choice because there's so much evidence that being with him is better than being by myself.
Beautiful. That's my
perspective on soulmates.
There's no such thing as a perfect answer. That's a very soul-led answer, because love or companionship or partnership, the agenda at hand, in my opinion, from a Kabbalistic lens, should always be, does this help my soul evolve? Everything that we're doing should really be looked through the lens of, is this evolving my soul? Is this expanding me? Is this making me feel more heart-led oriented?
Okay. That's a great conversation, because my Uber driver, I've been having insane conversations in Miami. My Uber driver the other day asked me, I forgot exactly what the question was.
Did they know who you were?
No, he was he started the Uber driver playing the Star Spangled Banner.
Beautiful.
And then it started getting really political conversation. I like steered it back.
Yeah.
And he's like, it was silent for a bit. And he was like, how do you, as someone who has your life experience, come back to yourself and then go back into the world as an evolved version of yourself?
Whoa.
I was like,
that's steep.
Why did you just ask me that question? Like, that's such an odd...
Nothing's a coincidence.
No.
Nothing's an accident.
No. Well, it's cool because I've been reading. So I grew up with a Christian background, but I was also very encouraged to like be curious and not just blindly follow.
Love that.
But definitely like a Christian influence. I worked with Flynn Skidmore for a while, and his wife...
I don't even know who that is.
He's a former therapist specializing in interfamily systems, and doesn't really do therapy anymore, more so like coaching and workshops.
Cool.
But he's super cool. His wife, Julia, is very involved in like the spiritual Indian like Eastern spirituality.
Mhm.
And she recommended this book to him, which he's recommended to us, which is called Sadhana, The Realization of Life. I highly recommend reading this book.
Sounds incredible.
The
I have
whole-
like books literally sprawled all over my home.
Okay.
So
Prioritize this one.
Literally,
It's
like I trip
so-
over them when I walk in. So anyone who's like, you
I love
have to
that.
read this book, I'm like, don't tell me twice. Very cool.
Oh, we just got Kindles because I would like travel with 4 books at a time.
Yeah,
I'm
and they're
like,
too
"Yes,
heavy.
I-"
But there's something about like the smell of a book and like turning the page,
Just
like
being able to
in a
pencil
modern
in.
world. Yeah, it's so nice.
Mhm.
It's so nice. It's actually, I create a lot of my content. I'll just sprawl out a bunch of books and I'll open to pages and ask for a message. And then I'll just start circling things and then
I
just
love
kind of
that.
like compile it all into one. It's kind
love
of
that.
like manic, but beautiful at the
Yeah,
same
it
time.
works. Yeah. So Sadhana, I have it in, I keep like pointing to my tote bag because it's in my tote bag right
Yeah.
now. And I'm like, I'm thinking I'm 50 pages of the way through, but the whole premise, it seems like so far, and I'm not an expert in this, but is that love, it says, there's like a line that says like, when men are connected with God, like genuinely like God lives inside of them. Men are not warriors, men are lovers. And it talks about how our ability to see ourselves and other people helps us feel more connected in the world, and how the West, so the trail that I'm going down is, we were talking about, do situations help us feel more alive, soul-led, blah, blah, blah. And I want to talk about humans' tendency to take the path of least resistance. So Sadhana talks about how the Western culture of power, ego, conquer, status, etc., can be beneficial, but it's not as conducive to living a life that helps you align with God.
Wow.
However, the more Eastern, I'm being very generic here, but the more Eastern spirituality of living in isolation and contemplation and knowing why you do things and understanding yourself also is not as conducive to building a relationship with God. And the premise is essentially like, through connection is how we experience God. And we cannot become as evolved humans as God meant for us to be if we're not connecting with other people on this soul level where we see ourselves in them and vice versa. So I just wanted to add that in there. But
Very cool.
when we talk about experiences experiences that are soul-led, like expand our worldview, expand our souls, I mean, I guess I do have an answer to this, but I just want the conversation more so. What are your thoughts on people not wanting things to be hard?
It's avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
It's avoidance. And actually, Kabbalah speaks often to the greater the soul, the more challenges you are experiencing, because your vessel is quite literally supposed to expand.
Mm-hmm.
So when these things happen, instead of looking at it from the lens of, this is hard, I don't want to experience this, finding a way to move through it where you can see the beauty in it. For me, we all have soul corrections. We all come to this world with soul corrections. It sounds like yours is the ability to receive money without feeling guilt.
Mm-hmm.
My soul correction was reactivity. So I would be in situations where I was so reactive, but to be reactive means that you are not connected to certainty, and being connected to certainty means that you believe in something outside of yourself, which is source.
Mm-hmm.
So when people have these fears and they're coming from those places, it's because they lack the certainty that it's by design. And if you can move through that with grace, that's when the blessings come. What's the opposite of light? Dark. What's the opposite of love? Fear. And we hear these things all the time, but to hear something and to feel it is quite different.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to have a grounding practice, to have some sort of connection so that you constantly are recalibrating. Because in fact, the more spiritual you become, the harder it is, because you know everything's a test, you know everything's a mirror. So when the pain comes, instead of avoiding it, instead of feeling frustrated or turning to addiction or all these other things that actually end up causing more pain, and you're just putting a Band-Aid on it to move through it in a way where you're feeling it. You're not sitting in it forever, and you're not becoming a victim to it, but you're moving through it with grace and remembering that we are here on this physical playing field to experience these things so that we can evolve.
Okay. Kind of on the boat. That was so
And dating
good.
can be scary for a lot of people because it's fear. It's just fear.
It is. I have been doing a lot of research on the dating world. I was just talking to my friend this morning. I'm a very analytical person. So I'm incredibly abstract, but I also like to be able to understand the logistics of the abstractness.
Sure.
I was like, maybe I should go to school for like journalism, just because I love reading studies and just like being able to, because I don't have degree. I didn't go to college. So I don't have any like credibility to back up the things that I'm saying. It's really, for lack of better words, downloads that I get and just my lived experience and my like analyzing of my lived experience. That's why I'm like, if you go on my social media, I'm like, it's very likely that, or it's very common that.
But it's resonating with people because it's still heart-led. Knowledge is power, sure, but one could also argue a soul's depth is power in itself.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is not necessarily all logic and analytical. You're dealing with matters of the heart, and matters of the heart are very different. It's like dealing with matters of the ego versus dealing with matters of the body and the soul. The ego says, I need this, I want that type of person, this. But the soul says, I need you to experience this.
Yeah, it's like a totally different
I
perspective.
need you to experience this for whatever. I'm not God, you're not God, we don't know. But the soul needs to experience something, which is quite different than the ego. And ego in dating can get the best of people.
Yeah. There's so many.
You should start explaining that to the male clients, like the difference between the ego and the soul.
Yeah.
And the body is just the capsule for the soul.
Yeah.
So, and we all have ego, we're human beings, but how do you hold it in a way that you can understand it and process it while still moving through matters of what your soul desires?
Yeah. It's the cool thing with matchmaking is I learned how much men desire love. There's so many messages I get saying, where can I find men who want monogamy? Or is monogamy, if I'm dating a really successful guy, is it normal for him to want an open, like just crazy questions that they shouldn't be asking, because why are you with someone who has different values than you? Not that anything's wrong, but
it's just different values.
Just different values. And they think that because they've experienced so much of one thing, that the thing that they want doesn't exist. And I have always, I don't know if it's been a delusional world or if it's just the world that I live in, but I've always lived in this world where men want serious relationships. I think that it is well, I don't want to say that. I think it's more likely than not that men really, if they're really being honest, want a relationship with an amazing woman. And they do let their ego get in the way of, I look like this, I have this much money, I've done all of this, I deserve this kind of a woman, and expecting her to be perfect and not ever call him out or hold him accountable, or all the things that I think the feminine does very well.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a yin and a yang.
Yeah. So it's been cool just to it to be validated that it's not just the men I have dated in the past or that I'm personally romantically experiencing that want serious relationship. It's
what you're attracting. It's quite literally what you're attracting too.
It is. Yeah. Men
it's in
really
your orbit.
Yeah.
It's in your orbit.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful orbit to be in, because a lot of women have this concept around men that they're all X, Y, and Z. But if you believe that to be true, I'm sure you've heard of the word abracadabra. Yeah. Abracadabra quite literally means, as I speak, I create. So if you believe that to be true, that is what you will constantly be pulling in. you were delusional, but that delusion brought you to a certain thinking, and that's what you brought in. That's just spiritual law. You can only attract what you are, not what you want.
Yeah.
So when it comes to matters of love and dating, you can be perfect on paper, but that's just paper.
Yeah.
Everything else is layered.
Yeah. I find it to be hard creating content sometimes because I've never been in like a toxic relationship. Like I've never had a bad dating experience.
Wow, that's so powerful. I think you're the
Yes.
only woman I've ever met who said that. You have this is your gift. Like this is
Yeah.
quite literally your gift why you are put on this earth.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
Wow.
Um,
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Are you listening to all of this? He's reading a book about God. That's powerful too.
No, I'm both. No, I'm very interested.
No, I mean it's kind of crazy.
yeah. I did find out, and I say that, but like I found out that the guy I dated when I was in high school, that I met at the community college that I was dual enrolled. So I graduated high school with my AA, and I dated a baseball player at this college. And I found out that I guess he did cheat on me while we were dating, but we only dated for 3 months. But I didn't find out until like 3 years later.
Yeah.
And even then I'd say like, to me, he was like we were 3 months into dating, and where I was going with this is that, to me, I've never experienced a toxic relationship.
Because you chose to see the good in it.
Because I chose to see the good in it, and I do think that I have very good discernment. So I lean avoidant as well. So I lean towards, if there's something that I'm not understanding or that I don't like, or there's dissonance between what I think I should be feeling and what I am feeling, my first step is to take a step back and like remove myself from the situation when I was much younger and more immature without explanation. And they'd be like, what is going on? And this is like after 3 or 6 months of dating. So that's like one thing. But I never slept with any of my boyfriends up until I was 22. And I've only had 2 serious boyfriends. And so it's hard for me to say, I have this experience of never having experienced a toxic relationship, but I also got out of relationships early because I knew it's like so many nuances. I was young. I knew they weren't someone that what I wanted from a husband is who they wanted to be. I also wasn't sleeping with them. So there wasn't this like emotional attachment. So like I would love to get on my high horse and say, if you don't sleep with your boyfriend, then it's easier to leave the relationship if it's not right for you. But I don't know if that's a true statement or not.
Sure.
Even though it's been my experience,
Yeah.
like that I did sleep with someone and it was harder to leave the relationship. So I would love to create this like rule book of do this and don't do this. Don't sleep with on the first date. But if I'm being like super candid, Revi and I started our relationship sleeping together and then got into a relationship. So I think the answer is, if you're looking for a relationship that is that is healthy, these are the things that are likely most conducive to the goal of having a healthy relationship. And I do think that one of those things is not sleeping with him early.
I would agree.
And that's like the most polarizing, I guess.
Because you can also see things more clearly.
You can.
It's more just women are wired differently. You'll be able to see things more clearly if you allow the relationship to naturally grow. And then you can see it's less about, oh, he sucks and he's a horrible person. More, is this aligned for me?
Yeah.
Is this aligned for me?
Yeah.
That's all. Everyone's in different chapters. They're in different places in their lives. Is this aligned for me? And then just listen to your intuition.
Yeah, exactly.
And realizing that, I think quite often, I'm sure you would agree to this too, that when women sleep with someone very quickly, their perception can be skewed because that emotional chemical bond has already taken into place. So then they're not listening to their desires. They're more on the thought process of, how do I make this work?
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. I just
and sure, there's the exceptions to the rule. And thank you for being so honest about that. Cause it's like, this is the conversations we have as girlfriends, like one-on-one. Like I slept with him quick and we're still on this healthy path. And sure there is, but if you want to, women, we have so many emotions and that's what makes us so powerful. We have the ability to feel so much, but we also need to learn to control our emotions. And how do we control our emotions? Through our own autonomy. And how do we do that? By having the ability to make decisions with our own bodies. And if you live in a free country, and if you live in a place where you can have that, honor it and respect it, and don't feel the need to move the needle fast because the pressure is on the other end.
Yeah.
Respect thyself.
Yeah. I don't think there's right or wrong. It's just, if I look at this, have you ever read The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson?
No.
So that was the first personal development book I ever read.
Okay.
And it talks about how your daily decisions impact your life. So we'll make decisions, we'll go to bed at 2 a.m. every single night. And if that's your normal, then at first it might not affect you, but there's like this bell curve that happens. And like very quickly why do I hate my life? Why do I feel so depressed? It was you're not getting enough sleep. But it's been like this compounding effect of not getting enough sleep for the last 3 months. And I think that if people were able to not take some of their decisions so personally at first, like identify with the decision, and more so be able to look at it from like a third person point of view and think, okay, well, if I do this, then it is more likely that this happens. And if I don't do this, then it's more likely that this happens. But I'm okay if that happens. So I'm going to choose to make this decision that might not be in my benefit, but I feel like I can work through it anyways. I think for me, that's a really good way of thinking. It's benefited me a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's having certainty and alignment with source, right? Like being okay with the outcome regardless, being okay with it and seeing the good in it and seeing the lesson extracted from it.
Yeah. The way on a big part of quietly becoming is just being able to think better. Like, I think I don't know if there's anyone else, but I make content specifically for dating very successful men, like very high performing men. There's like high value men and general dating content that is
I've yet to see
phenomenal.
anyone who does what you specifically do. And I tend to date very high performing men, but I'm also a very high performing woman. So it's it actually teaches me a little bit about myself too.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, which is cool.
I get that from women saying, I resonate more with the men that you talk about than like how to be the woman who gets that man. I get that a lot.
Right. Because there is a certain understanding that has to come with it. And if you want a man like that, you desire it because it exists on some playing fields for you. You can't desire something that doesn't exist for you, but you can get it and you can lose it if you don't know how to hold that vessel.
Yeah.
And that's where the education I believe that you really add is how to hold the vessel of someone like that so that you don't get frustrated or you don't get overwhelmed while still holding yourself, which I think is insanely powerful.
It is. There's times when I get overwhelmed by comments or just like the pressure that I put on myself to like be perfect. Definitely a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, is dating a high performing man, entrepreneurial man, even that different than dating a regular guy? Like, am I just blowing this out of the water, out of proportion? Like,
start questioning yourself.
Am I like being too polarized? Am I just like pulling things out of thin air? And then I'll like meet a girl who's dating a guy who's working a 9 to 5 and like doesn't have much ambition for himself and is okay with that.
Right.
And then I'll meet a girl who's dating a guy who's working 14 hours a day, can't text her all day, every day. Like, and I'm like, oh, there actually is. There is a difference. I posted oh God, I don't even know how long ago, a year and a half, maybe a year ago, that there was a study, I can't reference the study, but that came out that showed that there was a lot of similarities between entrepreneurs and narcissists. And it was like the trifecta. It was like narcissism, Machiavellicism. Machiavellism?
No idea. I'm like, I have no idea, but I'm sure it's in there.
Yes. And it's very interesting dating a man who, I'm sure you experience this as well, but like every single hyper successful man has had a chip on his shoulder where he's needed to prove that he's valuable or he's worthy of the love that he wants.
Absolutely. It's validation. It's
Every
the need for validation.
single one.
Why did they become obsessed with getting somewhere? They needed the validation.
Yeah.
100%.
And so when a woman goes into dating a man, whether he's recognized that about himself or he's recognizing that about himself or he hasn't yet.
Yeah.
It does require a certain kind of woman to be able to not need something from him to feel whole. I think that it's very normal to seek wholeness from other people, like just in general. I think that we do it for our friendships and like it's just something that we do.
Mm-hmm. But we actually need to have it within ourselves.
Yeah. And I think that for some people, it's like running track for your local high school team versus running track at like the Olympics. Like the times need to be faster. And you are talking about shaving 0.2 seconds off of your 400 time. And so like that's what it is in the relationship. But to shave 0.2 seconds off of your 400 time can be, if you're already running like say a 45-second 400, is like can be insanely hard. It requires like regimented training. And so when I'm working with the women in Quiet Becoming, it's typically they're almost there. It's just like this like little bit that's required to like kind of reprogram and understand the kind of man that they're dating, to be able to celebrate him, to be able to appreciate him, to be able to not need a lot. I think I see also is like because he's successful, he's pedestalized. Mm-hmm. And so his opinion about her and her decisions means so much more to her. So she'll like conform to what he thinks he wants. But I think that for women like you who are incredibly successful and are more like the entrepreneurial men that I talk about, there's this need. I think it's a very like inherent need for women to be with a man who is, I'm going to say better, but can lead her. Like,
and someone like,
teach
I always
you.
say, oh my God, it's so funny you say that. I just joined a backgammon club with my girlfriend, Brittany.
Fun.
And I was like, I want a man to teach me something.
Yeah.
I like to be around a man that inspires me, that teaches me. It's so crazy you said that. We were just talking about this the other day. She's like, me too, because she's also very, very entrepreneurial, super successful, beautiful. And she's like, that's what I'm looking for. Like, I want to be around a man that like teach me something. Mm-hmm. I've even said that to a guy before. I just ran into a guy I used to date, and I was like, "You want to join a backgammon club?" He was like, "I love backgammon." I was like, "Good, teach me something."
Yeah, there's something so almost erotic about a man knowing something very well and being able to teach a woman.
And they love teaching women because they want to add value too.
Yeah,
they do. They really do.
Yes.
They really love to add, I was joking. I can't believe I'm going to say this on camera. I was like, you already know that backgammon club's going to be so many men, and men love to teach a chick something.
Yes.
They do, but it's like there's also nothing wrong with playing into that because it creates flirtiness.
Yes.
It creates chemistry
yes.
in a way that's not typical from drinking and drugs and partying and everything else. And people like, it's a really fun way to get involved in a dynamic that a man is supposed to lead, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And they love doing that, and they love offering value, and like their faces light up. I mean, even men that I'm not interested in, they light up when they're like, "Oh, Liz, do it like that," or "This is how to do this." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, boost that ego, babe."
Yeah.
They need it.
It's like this use. They're like, I am useful.
Of use.
Like men ache to feel useful and needed.
Yes.
In the most like beautiful way. And when they feel that, you can feel them like start to
it's
like,
really
open
cool.
up and blossom.
It's cool. Yeah.
It's so cool. I made
It's literally, they do like open up and blossom. It's so funny because it's so true.
And you kind of get to see this like different side of them. I used to make these videos where I like, be like, go into the other room right now and go tell your boyfriend, your husband, whoever you're dating right now, that you are so proud of him, that you are so thankful for what he does for you, and that you want to make him feel appreciated. And
they love that.
I've had girls will comment or they'll DM me and be like, I did it to my boyfriend and he acted like he's never acted before. Like I realized I don't show appreciation that way. And there's just something
Men
so like,
really love feeling. Mateo, do you love feeling appreciated? Are you in a relationship?
I'm not, but what you guys are saying is accurate.
It's nice to have a man in the room because it's true. Like, men want to feel appreciated. They don't want to feel battered all the time and belittled and feel, it's also our job as women to make men feel like that too. It's a yin and a yang. That's the beauty. And, I'm such a feminist at heart, but I love men. I think men are amazing. And they're such a needed part of society. And it's really about the communication and how to do that beautiful dance with them.
Yeah. I love the analogy of ballroom dancing.
Oh, same.
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 As an analogy for a masculine energy dominant man and a feminine energy dominant woman.
Yes.
I've seen so many questions on podcasts of like, what do you think you lead with, feminine energy or masculine energy? My hypothesis, my ethos, like the way that I live is that I have to have masculine energy to have feminine energy.
Of course.
And so there's not that I'm like
duality.
80% feminine energy, 20% masculine energy. It's like I am 100% masculine energy and 100% feminine energy.
Yes.
And I'm able to be incredibly dynamic and flexible because I have the structure, the vision, the values, the boundaries, the standards that I have for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also able to be playful and curious and nonlinear and receptive because I have so much self-respect for myself. And when you see two ballroom, like if you're watching this podcast right now, go look up like professional ballroom dancers.
Oh, the best.
The
best.
The chills. It's
best.
like you see them and the woman has to have so much masculine energy. She has had to practice for years. She has to understand the fundamental steps, the logistics, the like 2 degree of like the toe point that actually looks better and makes her knee turned in. Like so many specific things that have to happen to look as good as she does. And then
let the man lead.
And then let the man lead. And like
what
it's
a
like
great analogy.
Respond to him.
Yes.
But he too has feminine energy because he can it's the best thing to watch when both people are like understand it so well and are able to play with it so well. And that's what I love for like that's what I want everyone's relationship to be like. They understand.
It's like people always say, like, oh, Liz, like you look so feminine and you're so spiritual, but like you can be very masculine. I'm like, yeah, of course. And I love that about myself, but I would love for a man to put me in my feminine more than anything. I would love a man that I can trust in that capacity because I'm such like a little baby girl in a relationship. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever,
Yes.
But you'll see the masculine side of me real quick if you don't come correct.
Yeah.
It's like you get what you give.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful balance. And I think it's imperative. And I think the ballroom, I mean, that's such an insanely accurate description of what a true balanced relationship can be like, literally visually.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I think that is the most like perfect visual of what it is.
You should like incorporate that into like, if you do like slides or within a speaking engagement, you should literally showcase a video of it.
Yeah.
It could be really powerful.
Yeah.
Not be thinking of business ideas. Like you should actually incorporate that.
I've made visuals of what's the relationship between like the Fibonacci sequence, homes, and seashells. And it's essentially the idea that like, or maybe it's like homes, seashells, and maybe ballroom dancing. Yeah. And it's essentially the idea that like the Fibonacci sequence is mathematics, but you see the Fibonacci sequence in everything beautiful.
Ugh.
So it's like that relationship as well. You said, I want a man who puts me in my feminine, and you did not mean it this way, but for women who think like they need a man who puts her, like she's not going to be feminine until he is masculine enough to put her in her feminine. I find that be a very harmful way of thinking.
Okay, expand.
Because I have videos, I need to like repost these videos, but I'm a very visual thinker I have a circle. So I draw a circle and I draw a piece missing. And that is, I need a man to be masculine so I feel feminine. I need him to communicate with me this amount of times per day so I feel safe. I need him to be strong so I feel soft, whatever it is. And so the goal is essentially to not need anything from him to feel whole
within
and
ourselves.
complete. But in order to do that, you need a masculine. So that's like your identity. Then you need a masculine energy, which I represent as like a square drawn around this circle. And that's your standards, your values, your beliefs, your goals, your visions, etc. And then within that masculine container is your ability to be, I draw it like as a little squiggly around the circle, ability to be feminine because you got you. Then what happens when you enter a relationship is because you come from different backgrounds and experiences and whatever, his square comes in, his masculine energy comes in and is typically like, I'm gonna do it this way towards the camera, is like a little off kilter of yours. So like if yours is perfect. So what that leaves you with is exposed masculine energy that he's not leading you or teaching you in that area. And so that would be like, I would only go into a relationship with my feminine energy. And I'm just observing the ways in which I find myself having to go back into my masculine energy. I keep using the example, I don't know why I use this example. It's not a lived experience of mine, but if he keeps coming home at 2 a.m. and I don't like that.
It doesn't feel right for me.
I have to go into my masculine energy and say, well, my standard is this. And the boundary that I have around to protect the standard is that my partner communicates with me. So I'm going to reset that standard for myself and communicate with him so that we can collaborate on something that works for both of us. And if that's not able to happen, because this is so important to me, this is not the person that I want to be with because he's unbudging in this area that's really, really important to me. And so
this was perfectly explained, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's kind of crazy.
It's hard if I can't draw it, but
it's actually like it's really resonating with me because, yeah, that you're right. Go into it just completely in the feminine and open, and then only go into your masculine when you're asking, is this aligned? If I'm saying this correctly,
yeah.
Is this aligned with my needs, my morals, my ethics, so on and so forth? So you're always leading with the feminine, but you're only, what you're saying, this is correct, you're only leading with your masculine when you have to look at it from the pragmatic lens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I hope we all just learned something new because I did. I'm totally looking at it differently.
Yeah.
That is really, really, really powerful.
Yeah.
You should just say that sentence time and time and time again.
Yeah. I need to make a YouTube video about it and
it's
explain
kind of crazy.
Because the other thing that I see is a man, again, it's like if I had a whiteboard, it'd be like easier to illustrate, but I see men coming in with like this incredibly thick border of masculine energy where their feminine energy cannot thrive. And so it makes them very hard to access or show any sort of empathy. And it typically it'll suffocate her where she now has to live in this world of rigidity.
Yeah,
yes.
No, it's a crazy word. Rigidity.
And it can suffocate her masculine energy where any decision she tries to make for herself, anytime she tries to step up for herself or set a standard, he just blocks it out. And it's this I think that could be a visual for a toxic relationship where she literally has to completely separate herself and be completely by herself in order to evaluate what the heck is going on.
Right.
And
which is hard to do when you're with someone that the dynamic is suffocating because you're not spending time with yourself within yourself.
Yeah.
And how can you be connected to source or anything outside of yourself if you don't spend time alone?
Yes.
That's why it's important to also spend just even 5-10 minutes alone and journal and think, because that allows you to be more present. Yeah, it's all so true. It's so true.
I talk to the quietly becoming girls all the time. I'm like, spend time by yourself. Like,
Yes.
and that doesn't have to be like sitting in a chair and being like,
No.
okay, what
Go
am I
for
doing?
a walk, speak out loud.
In the
journal,
shower. Like,
do
what are you thinking
anything.
about in the shower? Like, are your thoughts beneficial to the life that you want?
Literally, are your thoughts beneficial? Because we all know the power of thoughts and the power of words.
Yeah.
We all know by now to some degree. But it's just the constant reminder, like, where is my mind going? Where are my words going? You know, back to the whole concept of, if you think all men are X, Y, and Z, that is what you will pull in. And even I've had negative thoughts about men before, and I'm like, whoa, no, you're not going to fall into that trap. That is a trap. That is a trap.
And social media really perpetuates.
It perpetuates like crazy. He's toxic. If I hear the word toxic one more time, sure, there are narcissists. They do exist. But it's so incorrectly used so often. The word toxic is used so often that it's really also making people not take accountability for their own actions.
Yes.
And their own thoughts and their own consciousness.
Yes. It's, what were you just saying about, oh God, what were you just saying?
Like, we're like bouncing around.
Oh gosh, there was something that I wanted to say.
I'm really going to take away, this is like the biggest takeaway for me in this conversation, of never again saying I would like a man to put me in my feminine. I'm reframing my words around this, and I'm going to go into everything and saying I'm only going to go into this in my feminine, and then I'm only going to be in my masculine once I have to logistically understand if this works within my paradigm, if this works within my standards and my values. Insanely powerful.
Yay. It's honestly, that reframe is so good. And the thing is, like, you're leading with your feminine because you have such a fortified masculine container, you know? And I have found, and maybe that's why I have said this a few times. I don't know if this is ever going to come back and bite me in the butt, but I've always previously dated guys who were, like, for lack of better words, like playboys.
Yeah.
Like, notoriously known for not committing in a relationship. And then they would meet me wherever we would meet, and they would date me. And I didn't sleep with them. So, but they would like date me. And I'm like, I thought that I could change men. Like, when I was young, I was like,
Of course.
oh, I can change men.
Of course.
And what I think I've realized, even from this conversation, is that I just assume that men want to act in their highest good. And I've always like had this understanding that a man's highest good is the ability to feel appreciated, to lead. Like, he wants to make decisions. He does want to. And so I'm able to like create the space for him to be able to do that. And then also, like, when I talk about celebrating and appreciating your partner, I am like, there is literally never, it's not like you can overdo it. Like, you can't ever say thank you for everything that you do for me enough. He's never going to get sick of it.
Yeah.
Unless you're like being ingenuine.
Yeah. But there's the whole Instagram notion and TikTok is like, then you look like,
Make
the
him
puppy
prove himself,
dog.
make him work for it. Like,
Right.
I don't like that.
Right. Like, you have to make them like do a million things all the time. But appreciation, again, is connected to light and to source and to giving.
Yeah. Yes. And so,
There are the men, however, that take advantage of that.
Well, there are. But if you have a fortified masculine container as a woman, there is this, and I can't explain it because it's in the moment, you can just kind of sense, there's something off about his response.
And give me an example of what the off would feel like.
So, like, I think women who, this is my context, is dating entrepreneurial men. So, like, women are afraid to really celebrate and show appreciation to their very entrepreneurial, successful partner because she's afraid that he's just going to like soak it up into his ego and be selfish with that praise and think, oh, I'm the man. Like, I can do no wrong because she thinks I'm hot, SHIT. So, and I think that there are instances where that is the case, and it comes across as very like, I think appreciation inherently is a symbiotic relationship. Like if I show and you don't go into it with like this transactional mindset, but like it just is like a law of nature, I think. Genuine appreciation is met with like appreciation of your appreciation.
Reciprocity.
Like, yes, there's some sort of reciprocity
But
there.
what do you think about when someone says something along the lines of, the more you love yourself, the more they'll be obsessed with you? Like that selfishness, that, because I also believe that when a woman is really embodied within herself and she's really focused on herself, the man wants to lead more and do more for her as well. But where's the line drawn, right?
Yes.
That's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll speak to my relationship. When I am because I think it's beneficial to be in tune with your partner. So like this morning was a really great example. I have definitely become more of like a selfish person of, I'm going to go on a trip without you with my family, even if you can't come. Whereas before I was like, are you going to get mad at me? Like, I'm not gonna be able to make your lunch. Are you going to be mad that I can't, that I'm going and doing this by myself? And so I've gotten better at like, I'm going to do the things that feel really aligned with what I want to do. And
while still appreciating you.
Because I like, the thing is, I know that Revi's going to tell me, you doing that hurt my feelings. Or you doing, like, he's never going to be like, oh yeah, go on the trip.
He's a good communicator.
And then make me feel bad about going on the trip.
Right.
So like, I'm in a relationship with a good man.
And he's a talented communicator.
He is.
So
very talented.
Yeah, which is like,
yes.
Yeah, that's a requirement.
Yes.
That is a standard.
Yes. And so, but like this morning, last night, I had made plans to go to the gym this morning with my cousin and to go get breakfast afterwards. And typically when I come to Miami, I am like stretched thin. I'm doing this meeting and doing this call and meeting with this friend and an event, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I hate canceling plans. So I told Revi last night, oh, hey, I'm going to breakfast and the gym with my cousin tomorrow. And he's like, oh, I thought you said that you were going to be able to help me with my event tomorrow, which like the event is today. And I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot I said I was going to do that. I was like, but you said that, your CSM is there, the podcast people are there, like are you good? Like, do you need me or do you just want me there?
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't need you. Of course I want you there, but like, you can go have breakfast with your cousin if you want.
Right.
And I just kind of like sensed into it, and I knew he was being truthful, but I also knew, yeah, I'm saying that. I realized I do think very like in the future, like what would future Lauren what decision do I think future Lauren is going to be glad that she made? And I was like, I'm going to see my cousin a lot over the next few months. I'm going to go to the gym with her, and then I'm going to leave after the gym and go help him with his event. And you could just see that like he was so happy that I made that decision.
While still being able to do something that made you feel good too.
Yes.
I love that. I love that response, and I love that mindset.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how can I do something that really makes me feel good, but also my partner simultaneously? I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's good to be in a relationship with someone who you can communicate those things with and is being truthful about what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up with something really impactful.
Okay.
One tip for a woman who's a modern day woman who's looking for love. What is your best dating advice?
Oh my God, to tie it up in one thing.
I know, that's so hard.
I think listening to this whole podcast, I think we kind of like touched on all of it.
Touched everything.
Like, I think the one thing we didn't talk about was extreme ownership.
Oh,
so yes. I think for a woman to be able to take extreme ownership and recognize that potentially the way that she's doing things is not conducive to her end goal of what she actually wants.
Powerful.
And then being able to take what she wants and like distill it down into like what actually needs to happen. Like the husband list, the wife list of what her dream man wants in going in with her feminine, like taking extreme ownership, I think informs the strategy. And so not blaming men or circumstances or your own success for why you're not meeting people.
Beautiful. That's so nice. Where can people find you?
I am on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Lauren O. Hunter.
Okay.
Um,
And what's next for you?
just continuing with Quietly Becoming. You
Very
know,
cool.
we're getting married this year. It's a lot of planning and things.
Yeah.
And the Quietly Becoming community is just it's like my baby. It's what I think it's really what I was born to do. So
Yeah.
that's
Not even
for the
not even
foreseeable
2
future.
seconds of a doubt. That is 100% what you're born to do. And you're creating little communities of women that will know how to also respect men while they are being respected too, which is insanely powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much for
being
having
here.
me.